Hi, thanks for coming back to my little crafty secret. Welcome to Christmas in July. I'm excited to be here. I hope you are too. I thought it'd be great to start off with how I plan to organize myself. I actually did this with some cutter parts using a Christmas paper pad from Echo Park. You don't need a Christmas paper pad. I actually just used one sheet of 8.5 by 11 to create this, and it's going to work great. My paper pad little folio worked great, and I'm going to just use regular cardstock. So I am showing here what it kind of looks like, at least the base part of it. But you do want to get, before you go into that, you do want to get out somehow find in Google or whatever, a calendar of October, November, and December. You want to make sure that when you do print, that you ask the printer to print 4 sheets to 1 page. The actual PDF will be 1 sheet. So when you ask the printer to make it 4 sheets to 1 page, it's only going to recognize it to be 1 sheet, and that's why it's in the corner there. And that's why you don't get 4 calendars to 1 sheet of copy paper. So anyway, it does leave you with a lot of extra copy paper. It's not a waste. We will be using that, as you can see here. Just quarter the 8.5 by 11 copy paper and actually get more copy paper. I used about 10 sheets and I quartered those too. And what you want to do is, once you have it all quartered, you want to put them together and actually put glue on one end. I was showing some binder clips, so you definitely want to have those handy. So just put some glue. I'm using art glitter glue. I like it because it's flexible once it's dry, and it dries quickly. So I did do one section at a time, gluing the ends here. And as soon as I'm done gluing this, I put the other binding clip on. And you want to do this first because you need time for that glue to set, and we will come back to it about midway of this project. So now, once that is done, you want to get out an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. You're going to cut this in half the short way, I guess on the long side, but make it short like a card base. And once that's done, take your calendars. This is an exact 4.25 by 5.5, so you do have to make it smaller just so it fits well in your little book there. I actually end up making this smaller, and you'll see at the end when I actually try to put this in, it's a little bit too large still, but not a big deal. I was able to pull it out and cut a little bit off. So now the actual base. What you want to do is just score right in the middle, right in half of the half card sheets there, and just like as if you're making a card base. And then on one of the card, actually the bases there, or the sheets there, you want, either side, doesn't matter, of the center line there, you want to score 3/8 inch from that center line. And then you want to take the second card base there, and again, either side, it doesn't matter, but you do want to score 1.5 inches from the edge on one side, and then flip it over, and you want to score about 1/2 inch from one edge. And then once you do that, you want to score 3/8 of an inch from that 1/2 inch edge you just scored. So just move it over 3/8 of an inch. And now you have your 2 card bases scored, and we're going to put those together. So go ahead and fold those scores, crease them, make it nice, and be careful with the creases. You are the boss of this paper, so if you need to tell it what to do, do so right now when you're actually creasing. I know sometimes we score kind of weird, and I have to be a little heavy-handed with my score, with my actual folding. Don't be afraid of it. Okay, So once that's all scored, this is the piece where it's sort of scored in half. I'm going to show you here. This is where your little notebook will be, and this is where we're going to attach it at that edge there. So it is kind of flippy, flappy. I will deal with that in a second. Before we do that, I want to put a little bit more glue on the edge. If you decide not to, that's okay. It should work even with the one pass of glue. And if you are using two different size binder clips as I have, I actually switched the position once I put it back on. Okay, so back to the base here. So that's not so fluffy flappy as I'm trying to put the two together. I did make a pocket. That's what that 1.5 inch score line was. And I just glued the ends there to make that pocket. I did the old May trick where you kind of squeeze the ends in so it kind of puckers. I love it. It actually works really well. So now that other side, I did put a lot of glue because, again, I need lots of grace and I need a lot of time for me to shift things as I need to. And then I just adhere it to the other sheet where the other 1/2 inch is. So here's a close-up view. That's what it looks like on the back, just making sure everything is nice and straight. And I press down. Thankfully, no glue seepage. And there you go. That is it. Look how easy that was. That's only by using one 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. Okay, now it's time to put this calendar. And as you can see, I don't know how I missed this, but it actually needs to be cut a little bit shorter. And I didn't see it until the very end once I installed the calendar section. But before we actually put it into the notebook there, what we have to do is add sticky tape. You can add wet glue if you like, but this is really thin copy paper, so it would buckle and it would be kind of hard to dry. So I need this to be a little bit faster, and I decided just to use sticky tape in this case. And that's what I'm doing. So when you do put this together, again, this is copy paper. It's like super thin, and you'll have to make sure that you put it on correctly. I do try my best in this case, but yeah, it just you see me struggle in a second here. So another tip here, make sure that your calendar is in the right order. I did have moments of panic as I was putting this together because I thought, oh my gosh, I put this in the wrong order. So just make sure it's in the right order. I guess, yeah, here's my panic. I was panicking right there. I guess if you didn't notice it until much later, it may not be a big deal. It's okay. It's going to be yours. And yeah, as you can see here, I actually didn't put it together right. I didn't like it, so I carefully peeled it off. I'm surprised that it did not tear this copy paper. I'm not sure if that's just means that the sticky tape isn't the best sticky tape, but whatever. It's like I said, this is mine that I'm going to keep. No one's going to get it. And I think over time the glue will just kind of set and won't really budge. So when I do put it in here, it actually goes past the score line. I'll put it in there in a second there, but it goes past the score line, and I didn't realize that until, of course, after I put it into the notebook. So when I tried to fold it, I noticed it, and yeah, I had to do something. So I did consider just leaving it in there and then cutting it, but you know what, the sticky tape was coming out right off, so I decided to just take it off like I'm doing right now, really gently, and I'll pull out my trimmer, trim it, and then put it back into the notebook. Of course, I did all that trimming off camera. So now it looks pretty good. It fits, and I'm loving it. So now we are going to get the little notepad that we're creating. Again, this is an exact quarter sheet. So you have to be really careful. You can't really have edges like centering it in the middle of that book there. You really do have to put it at the very edge. And because I felt like this was heavy, so I decided just to add 2 strips of sticky tape there on the back. And I'm going to go ahead and adhere this to the notebook here. I actually did struggle because I was trying to find that edge, that end there, and with the camera on, and it actually is kind of it was kind of hard. So I did take it off a couple times. It did rip, and eventually I did add some wet glue, just because I did rip the base there. I'm gonna go ahead and cut to the chase at the very end, so you don't have to see me struggling too much. But I did want to tell you that there was a little bit of a struggle. So that's actually the end of the project share. It is done. I did consider having a closure. The only reason why I didn't was because there's the calendar there and there is the pocket. And from my experience of having something like this in my purse, the pocket does come in handy. If you don't think that's going to come in handy, having that pocket, you can definitely convert that side into the closure, where you put like an eyelet with some, string or elastic of some sort. You can put, even, it doesn't have to be that, you can even put like Velcro or something, or even a magnet if you really want to. But this is what I plan to use. I have something very similar, using cut parts from a Echo Park paper pack. You don't need that. You can just use something like this, 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. It works great. I just use black because, I think it looks pretty, makes it look elegant. Anyway, that is it. I hope you like this. If you do, give it a thumbs up, and tune in next time for the next Christmas in July episode. Thanks until next time.